All right. How's everybody doing? Hopefully everyone can hear me. This is More in America. Before we get started, I want to read a real quick disclaimer for you. Just say this video represents the views of the presenters and or our guests. It is based off of our personal research and life experience. Just wanted to get that out there for you. Hopefully everybody can hear us well. Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on what time zone you are in. You're listening to the True and Living Life Bringers More in America. As always, I'm your brother, Lloyd Douglas L., also known as Sharif Ali. Here, we are uncovering and bringing glorious light to all issues pertinent to the Moorish American paradigm, and even further, right, out to the entire world. That's what we do here on this podcast known as More in America. So hopefully everyone is having an amazing evening. Today we will be speaking to a business owner, our brother Timo Wilson, and he has a lot of great information for us. Before we really get started though, I want to tell everyone to go over and to check out this man's platforms. Make sure that you go and follow Timo over on his social media accounts. Just do yourself a favor and check his accounts out. Now let me pull this up on the screen for you. Hopefully everyone can see this, but make sure you go out and just do yourself a favor. Follow him on social media. I'm saying this because not only does he share business tips, but he just has inspirational content, period. Right? One of the videos that he put up recently, I had saw maybe a few months ago. Looks like this was in January. He was speaking about trust, right? And it's just a real brief video, but I just wanted to share this before we get started because he said something in here that's really key and it's really important, that when you listen or when you're looking at videos and people that share content online, there's one key thing that you need to listen to, and you'll hear it right here in this video. Okay, so he said one key thing right there. He said, like I completed today. There's a lot of people who are experts online who share all types of information and things that they're not actually doing themselves. Okay, and so I'm just saying, here's somebody who's out here walking the walk and talking the talk, living a life. So definitely, you want to do yourself a favor. The links for his social media is in the description for this video. So make sure you go and follow him online. And we're going to go ahead and get things started. Don't go anywhere. Everyone that's here, please hit that like and share button. Make sure you share this on your favorite social media platforms. And we will be getting started. Do not go anywhere.
It's chapter 7. Mind of an Asiatic, homie. Yo. See, any other time, I wouldn't pay you any mind. Put my best foot forward in every verse and every line. I used to dream, I used to pray about the day that I get signed into the truth. About this business just blew my mind. I swear to God, I used to think all I needed was a skill. High verse, catchy hook, dope look, then get a deal. I used to love the rock a sold out show just for the thrill until the real was revealed to my spirit like Jabril. I'm iconic. Black is beautiful, but if you blackballed, you masked up. Can't see the light, they say black cats are bad luck. Black is a color, and we're not painted, stained, or varnished. With these black labels, our heritage remains tarnished. Black power made us all raise a black fist, but whoever did was soon put on the black list. Black people, where's your black flag unless you killing roaches? You say you black and you proud, but yet we're not the closest. Emotions are high when we become a black target. If it's illegal and moves, then it's on the black market. Bad guys wear black, that's some color of law.
Idols, everyone will not process ancients' arrivals. Initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious.
Innate mystic ability to show and prove a lesson, coupled with the agility to move you with the message present. New air time.
It's so divine, I put my life on the line. Allah made me so I'm built for the grind. New air time. The truth defined, the 7 chakra in line. I feel we finally coming out of a bind. New air time. A mastermind, take you up on the climb. You know the signs, see the symbols and signs. New air time. It's all sublime, put it all in my rhymes. And if you seeking, then I know you gon' find. New air time. It's so divine, I put my life on the line. Allah made me so I'm built for the grind. New air time. The truth defined, the 7 chakra in line. I feel we finally coming out of a bind. New air time.
I shine like a Cuban link, that polo Snoop Beach, the 9 in the design of me. I'm wise like I designed a Sphinx, was born a righteous king, to rule from New York to Mozambique.
I am not a Negro, black, colored, African American. I'm a Moorish American. Peace.
Yeah. Hey, 5 on the right, 2 on the left, man. You know what time it is. Yo. We just Moors in America, soared through the shores and endured criminal acts of war on our character. 7 years after the 4th score, no reward. Shout out to the most courageous, they was jumping over barriers. Where does that compare to you? We come from a place where you scared to visit our area. We come from a place where it's scary for good Samaritans. Heavy luggage we carrying, babies having babies. It's crazy being American. Praise the one and only Allah, there's no comparison. La ilaha illa Allah, body and buried gin. Laughing at you clowns like ha-ha, dodging the Nephilim. Conquer lower self with the high, follow your regimen. Way before they came we were gods, and now we specimen. Tried to take the light from our eyes, thank God for Edison. Then they put the wool on our eyes, it's so embarrassing. Now we travel frequently, we should invest in Sheraton. All of us got gold on our bodies whenever we stepping in. Screaming Ramadan, Mubarak, training the flesh again. Wishing we could move as a unit just like the Mexicans. Dodging all the foods with estrogen, synthetic medicines. All sin isn't devilish. Sometimes the decisions that you make come for a better gift. Sometimes when you sin is to relate to all your brethren. Heavenly gates all in our face, we the champions. We live in the sky, we see the angels on the chariots. Waiting on the $20 bill, face a Harriet. I bet you I'ma carry it. I'm in love with music to the point I wanna marry it. But my love for people is greater, so I write messages. Largest spending power, but we still sit at a deficit. Living amongst prejudice, even at our residence. Moors in America, flourishing, excellent. Let's buy up some neighborhoods and groom our own president. Yeah. And I come to you today with all intentions of spreading love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
All right, peace everybody. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Peace, brother Timo. How are you doing?
Peace, peace. Your intro, man, you got this thing locked down. Um, I'm truly grateful. I feel amazing. I feel blessed just to be allowed to be on this platform to continue to drop golden nuggets, information to our people, to help in the advancement of our people, right? So I feel great, man. I'm ready to give the people what they want. I'm ready to educate, consult, and inform a lot about my experiences, business, finance, credit, funding, business credit, what have you. And man, today's just a great day.
Man, it's a pleasure to have you on. I'm following you on social media. Once again, I advise everyone else to do it so as well. I'd love for you to just share your story and just let us know about you and just give some background on what you're doing and how you got to where you're at.
Yeah, definitely. So, hello, everyone. My name's Timo Wilson L. Originally, I was born in Germany. And at 3 years old, I came to the States on what was supposed to be a vacation and never went back home. Right. So, from 3 years old up until I want to say when I was 9 or 10, I lived in the southwest part of Michigan, a very small town called South Haven, Michigan, which happens to be the blueberry capital of the world. I mean, this is a very, very small town. Everybody knows everybody. It's pretty much an industrial town. Not a lot goes on there. It's a big tourist town as well for, a lot of people to come visit, etc. And then from there, I moved around a lot. I ended up moving to a very small town in Ohio called Middlefield, Ohio, which is pretty close to Cleveland. From there, I jumped to Rhode Island. And then most of my high school years and all of college, I lived in Atlanta, Georgia, College Park to be exact. Went to Albany State University, made it to about my junior year in college, and some situations happened where I didn't complete college. And since 21 years old, brother, I've been on my own. I traveled to the Bay Area, lived out there for about 5-6 years. And since 2010, I've been right here in Phoenix, Arizona, building my empire. And what's really, really funny is that when I came to Phoenix in 2010, before moving, I did my market research. And at the time, Phoenix was the 4th largest growing city in America. Now, I left the Bay Area due to 2 reasons: cost of living and traffic. It was horrible, right? So I do my research. It's an expanding city. I get out here. And I learned at a very, very young age that my creator, Allah, has blessed me to just see things, before they manifest into the physical. And there was one thing I was telling my friends at that time. I said, Phoenix is a gold mine, guys. I said, Phoenix is going to be something massive in the next 10, 15 years. And I'm choosing to root myself out here to build. And, through the grace of my creator, I mean, everything just kind of aligned. But once again, I come from a very, I would say, lower middle class family, Christian-based family. The motto was go to school, get good grades, and either get a scholarship to go to college and end up getting a good career, or you have to go to the military. But we had one rule: at 18 years old, we had to start figuring out what we were going to do with our life. We weren't allowed to stay home. So I had to figure things out real quick for myself. Actually, what's funny is that my sophomore year in high school, this was back in 2004, 2005, before the war really started getting bad. My own dad had Army recruiters come into that house to try to get me to come sign up. But I just knew I had bigger plans with my own life. I got myself scholarships to go to college and, just kind of push myself through school. But yeah, that's where I'm from. And I'm currently in Phoenix now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that definitely sounds familiar, for a lot of us, or probably for most of us growing up. It's either college or military, and then maybe not even really getting any instruction coming up, to prepare you, to make that decision. Like, you're 18, figure it out. That's kind of how it is for a lot of us. But, thanks for sharing that. And really, I'd like to know, like, what kind of got you started on this journey? Because just pulling up your social media accounts again, you share a lot of a lot of like inspirational videos, kind of like I guess you could say like personal development, right?
Yeah.
And if you wouldn't mind, please, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, definitely. So I consider myself to be the black sheep in my family. Like I stated, most of my family, they spent most of their life in corporate America or working industrial based jobs. And I would say just at first observing, right? We have two eyes and one mouth for a reason. If you really just take the time to sit and to observe, you'll see and notice a lot of things. And the definition of insanity, guys, is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. Well, I seen my own dad work, most of my life, most times 2 jobs at a time, not being there most of my life, working overnight, coming home with his fingers and hands bruised up, right? Barely able to, make sure all of his kids, it was 5 of us, had brand new school clothes to go to school in, I actually went to school a lot of times with hand-me-down clothes, I watched my grandfather, he didn't pass the 7th grade. He worked for Penske out of Chicago for 20, 30 years of his life. And, he was able to buy land and pay off his mortgage and successfully take care of his family. But I would say first observing the people around me, knowing that, it was something about it. I said, this can't be it. This cannot be it. I don't feel like my creator put me here to, once again, go to school, get good grades, get a good job, play it safe, retire with a 401k. Where's everyone's 401ks at right now? The dollar's collapsing. Right? So I just knew there was something more. Now, originally, I took risks that weren't legal. I thought that was the way, right? And then eventually, after learning the hard way that, hey, it's time to start straightening up and going the right way, I really got in tune with myself. Back when I was 22 years old, what really helped me, especially with the upbringing I came from, which was very traumatizing, very toxic, right? I found peace through meditation. I found peace through meditation. I found peace through journaling. I found peace through reading. I learned that, your mouth and your physical body and your hands and thinking short term is only going to get you so far. But if you start to surround yourself with people that are at levels you want to be at one day, and B, remain a student to the game and always stay learning, and then C, learning how to isolate the distractions and really get to know your higher self and your lower self, wherever you're trying to get to, it's possible, right? So personal development and my development as the CEO I am today, I feel like was the make it or break it point. I had a choice, right? Like I can work a 9 to 5, I could join the military, I can get a paycheck every Friday, be in the clubs, be in the bars, take one vacation a year, maybe, or I can sacrifice 5, 7, 10 years of my life and do what 99% of people aren't willing to do to live how they will never live. And obviously I made the choice to sacrifice a very long period of my time and root myself and live below my means and take the risks and just bet on myself. Like I'm a man, I've built things in the past at an early age, but I've also lost a lot, right? Lost a lot, but I don't look at it like losses. They were lessons to make me the man I am today, to be able to grow and scale multi-million-dollar organizations. So personal development is key, guys. When you guys see your friends in the clubs, when you guys see your friends in the bars, like one thing I would always preach to my sales team, because, these are young entrepreneur guys that I felt like wanted a better life and wanted to be like me, is that, listen, these clubs ain't going nowhere. But when I go to the club, I want to be able to bring 50 people VIP and not worry about a price tag, right? I don't want to be in the general admission section getting my brand new Air Force One stepped on because I paid $20 to get into the club. So I'm willing to sacrifice a good amount of my life to get to where I want to go. And that means not really falling for the instant gratification, short-term pleasures and desires that our lower self will always trick us to buy into. The hardest thing to do, guys, is to stay focused and stay disciplined. Okay. Personal development requires discipline. So, you know, when you see people with, and I'm not even going to say money, because not all people with money are good people, and not all people with money are wealthy. I know guys that are really wealthy still driving a Honda Civic, and I know guys that look wealthy driving a Lamborghini, but they're late on their car payment, right? So it's the discipline behind everything, guys, and just making the decision, where do I want to be? How do I want to live? What platform do I want my kids to be able to transition into when they're in their teens? See, the way I look at it, guys, because I wasn't born into wealth, right? The way I look at it is like this, okay, because I'm not on anybody's will. I'm not in anybody's trust. I'm actually the second member in my family, and there's probably 1,000 of us still living that even has a trust set up. But I'm not thinking about myself any longer. It's about my babies. So I want my babies to learn about credit, business funding, logistics, and really have their sword sharpened at a very young age and teach them how to fish and have a platform, cash flowing businesses, assets passed down to them so they can take it further than I was able to take it. And most families don't operate that way. They don't want the younger generation to do better than them for some reason. That's the family I come from. Everybody, you know, gets a little property or they get a little business and they want to hang on to it forever and not put anybody else on, which forces us to A, work jobs, or B, try to create for ourselves. So for me, guys, I would say, and my grandmother asked me this, she said, Timo, you know, because I was at a very dark place in my life, you know, I believe, you know, the man that suffers the most will reach the highest heights. The man that reached the lowest depths will reach the highest heights. There is no reward without pain. There is no reward without sacrificing. There is no reward without discipline, period. Okay. So if you choose to live an average, normal, easy life, one of my quotes is, if you do what is easy, life will be hard. If you do what is hard, life will be easy. So everyone has a decision to make, and little that humans realize, and I just posted this yesterday, you know, all the power is within us, guys. Stop seeking outside validation. Stop thinking you need your family to support you. Listen, my family didn't start supporting me until I made my first million. I could tell you that much. It was strangers that supported me. Strangers made me realize I was gifted and I had a strong trade and I was a master at my craft, which allowed me to grow in business. So stop waiting for people to support you. Stop waiting for, you know, somebody to validate your business ideas. Stop waiting on people and realize all the power is within you. Whatever you want, you can create, you can manifest, and it can manifest and turn into the physical. But you got to get started somewhere. But you won't get there without personal development.
Gratitude for sharing. You know, when you were mentioning sacrifice and discipline, like how important would you say discipline is to you, just personally in your life?
Ooh, discipline is everything. I don't feel good about myself if I didn't honor my commitments I made to myself. See, the true discipline comes from the commitments and promises you make to yourself. And I'll share with you guys a few of them. I'm big on waking up before the sun comes up. I'm up at 4 a.m. If I'm not sleeping until 6, 7, 8 o'clock a.m. Why? Well, I'm in Phoenix, right? And the way business works is it really revolves around the stock market. Most businesses open at 8 a.m. That's when commerce typically begins. Well, if I'm not up at 4 a.m., guess what? I don't have time to focus on my personal development, which is my meditation, my prayers, my journaling, before everybody needs me. Before my family needs me, before my clients need me, before my employees need me, before my partners need me, right? So I got to be disciplined enough to wake up early. Another form of discipline that people don't even realize is the power of no, the power of saying no. I have a lot of, I would say, associates and partners in my network that I get invited to nice things all the time. Hey, Timo, I got a penthouse in Vegas. We're doing this event. You should come out. Hey, Timo, we have this going on in Miami. Hey, Timo, you want to go here? Hey, Timo, can you meet me for lunch? Hey, and a lot of times discipline is saying, you know what? I'm not at that stage in my business yet where I need to be going to lavish events. I need to be spending all this money. No, because I'm committed to my daily appointments. I'm committed to my teams. I'm committed to my clients. I know where I'm currently at in life and in business. And there's certain things I can do. And there's certain things I have to say no to. Because if I say no now, in the future, I'll be able to do all of that stuff full time and be retired by the time I'm 40 years old. So which life do I want to live? The discipline to be able to sit down and isolate yourself and study and read and master your craft. See, we live in an era right now where everybody wants to be let me say it like this. We live in an era right now where most people are influenced by people that call themselves influencers, but only on social media, right? We live in an era where so many people are swayed by false reality and illusions by materialistic things like Lamborghinis, expensive bottles, all these vacations, all these women with bodies acting like they travel full time when really there's an old wrinkled up sugar daddy in the background paying for everything. But you got so many people that buy into that because those people make it look easy when really it's an illusion. We got so many people that create a brand and an LLC and a business before they even master the craft. You got to be disciplined enough to isolate yourself. See, at the beginning of one of my companies, ASAP Credit Solutions, guys, when I finally took the risk to leave a good paying job, I was a finance manager in corporate America. Before that, I built sales teams in several car dealerships, and I was making $100,000 to $180,000 a year, guys. Now, for most people, let's think about it. They would play it safe. I'm making $150,000 a year. I have job security. I got benefits. I'm good with the general manager. He loves me. I can show up and leave when I want. I'm never leaving here. See, but I have the mindset and belief system. This ain't it. There has to be more. And that's my creator putting those feelings into me and giving me that vision and that belief system to have the kahunas to be able to walk out, right? But it took discipline at the beginning of my business. If you weren't calling me to get help with your credit, if you weren't calling me to help me build, I kid you not, for 8 months, I didn't leave my house. I didn't leave my office. I was pulling 16, 18-hour days because I was a one-man operation. I had to do the marketing. I had to do the selling. I had to do the disputing. I had to update the clients. I was my own billing department, right? And that's what it took to get my first business off the ground that actually scaled to $4 or $5 million annually. Okay. Elevation requires separation and isolation. Write that down. Elevation requires separation and isolation. You got to leave those friends alone, guys. A lot of your friends ain't going nowhere. You got to cut that family off sometimes, but when you make it, reach back out to them and bring them up, right? But you got to isolate yourself and be disciplined enough to sometimes, spend more than 10,000 hours just to master your craft before you start offering the public anything. So I would say, to answer your question, Lloyd, discipline, there is no success without discipline. And let me share with you guys a secret. Okay. See, you can't just be disciplined when you're trying to get to the bag and when you're trying to build that business. Once the money really starts coming in, and I've seen some crazy months, guys. There's been months I've had $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 in 1 month hit my bank account, right? Consistently. You got to be more disciplined then. Why? Because the devil is real. You can go travel where you want to, whenever you want to. You could buy anything designer whenever you want to. You could go buy a Lamborghini cash. You can go buy $1 million home. You could get into drugs. You could get into alcohol. Like a lot of guys that barely start touching money, a lot of men and women that barely for the first time of their life start touching money, go broke within the next year or two. Because the addictions, the alcohol, the drugs, the women, the overspending. So if you're not disciplined at the beginning, if you get lucky and scale a business and start touching some money, I can promise you within a very short time, you won't have anything. Why do you think you see all those lottery winners that come up 10, 15, 20, 30, $50 million and within 5 years, they're gone? Discipline.
Amen, brother. Thank you for speaking on that. And so, and would I be presumptuous in assuming that you're not spending a lot of time playing video games, maybe watching TV, binge watching shows?
No, sir. I don't do any of that. Actually, my fiance got me a PlayStation 5 literally for Christmas. And my rule, because I'm not gonna lie, like I'm human too, right? I love me some Call of Duty and some Madden, okay? Because when I grew up, actually, that's how I survived in college, is I would bet guys $20 a game on Madden and nobody could ever beat me. That's how I bought food. That's how I survived in college. But I had went about 10 years without touching a video game up until recently. So now the way I stay disciplined is I'm not allowed to get on the game Monday through Friday. But for an hour or two on a Saturday, maybe an hour on a Sunday, I'll get on those sticks because it's something I love to do. But that's my time limit. I got to get off after that. But guess what? If I don't do my morning routine, if I don't pray, if I don't journal, if I don't meditate, if I don't stay disciplined in the morning, I'm not allowed to touch the game. Now, a lot of people can't do that for themselves. You got to set boundaries for yourselves. And let me share with you guys a trick to make it a little bit easier. Take yourself out of your body, right? And act like you're controlling this person that's not you. If you want to hit $1 million, $100,000, $250,000, what habits are going to be needed to get there? And what habits are you going to have to do away with to get there? Write them down. And then take yourself out of your body and act like you, as the living soul, the man, the woman, is, let's say, an avatar. And maneuver that avatar, how you would to reach where you're going. And that's just a little trick that I do, right? Because as humans, we're emotional creatures and we're habitual creatures, right? But it's like, if I know, I have to be doing A, B, and C to get here, well, let me limit the desires. Let me limit the pleasures. And that's the main thing when it comes to discipline. A lot of us indulge in senseless and unconscious activities to escape reality. Believe it or not, think about it. Most people that work a W-2 job hate their job. You're spending 8 to 10 hours a day doing something you hate. Why do you think those same people, when they get off work, they eat greasy food for dinner, they turn on the television, they drink alcohol, they smoke their weed, and they're back to sleep, waking up, doing it time and time again. And some people never escape that matrix. Now watch this, because I worked a corporate job for a long time. I was the guy, and my hours were about 10 to 12 hours a day in the car dealerships. I was the guy, I would pull 10, 12 hours a day at the car dealership. Immediately when I got off work, I started working on my business. I would stay up till 2, 3 in the morning working on my business, right back at work at 6, 7, 8 a.m., right? Because we all have the same 24 hours in a day. And the most valuable asset you really have, guys, it's not money, it's time, baby. It's time, okay? It's time. So there's no excuse if you are working a job not to put the same amount of hours into your business. Why would you put 8 hours a day into somebody else's empire but not make the same commitment for you and your family? There's no excuse. So yes, that requires discipline. There were plenty of nights I was tired. Oh man, I don't want to have to read. I don't want to have to study. I don't want to have to do this. You know, I'm tired, man. I got to be at work tomorrow. I need to save my energy right now so I can function at work tomorrow. That job don't care about you. If you die today, they'll have a replacement tomorrow. Simple.
Hey man, I think you kind of answered this next question, but just off of some of the things that you mentioned, like okay, so you had a corporate job earning six figures, pretty comfortable. What like internally, what led to you go ahead, leaving that job and just going independent?
Oh, that's a good question, actually. You're going to allow me to get into a lot more detail. Um, Corporate America showed me how valuable I was. That went over some of y'all's head. Corporate America showed me how valuable I truly was. Yes, sir. So I'll give you guys some stories. So I was at this particular dealership, and when I was at the stage of just selling cars, like I was always the number one producer, right? Like I've been in sales for a very long time. I feel like I just have this natural gift when it comes to connecting with people. And for those of you that ever want to start a business, you have to understand something. The business is the people. You have to have, you have to have developed people skills. Well, we would sit in these monthly kickoff meetings, and the sales team I personally built, trained, and executed on was always number one for about 2-3 years. They would praise us every single month, take us to team dinners. Well, then they started releasing the numbers, what we were producing. And I'm looking at these numbers like, wait a minute, wait a minute, something's off. Like, you mean to tell me my team is putting $1 million a month on this company's books, and I'm over here making 10, 12? You mean to tell me I'm doing all this for this company? Okay, cool. So once I seen the numbers, I really started networking and really started getting big on LinkedIn. For those of you that ever want to like grow and scale in business, let me share with you. Facebook is cool, but the way you're going to meet professionals is on LinkedIn. Well, this lady, her name's Naomi. Hey, Naomi. She found me on LinkedIn, and she actually started recruiting me for Berkshire Hathaway to go do finance. That was always my dream, to be a finance manager. The guy in the back in the nice expensive suit with the Rolex on, looking sharp, just doing the paperwork. Well, I ended up going to finance, and the same thing, I scored a 98% at the Finance Institute with Berkshire Hathaway. I start my finance position, and right away, a lot of people are in fear of Timo because of my numbers. So I said, you know what? I said, I'm big on corporations or people showing, in a way, like showing me my value, right? Like, the one dealership wanted me to go back. Things happened in corporate America that I didn't agree with, because what I was trying to do is I was trying to consult the general manager and his directors on how to grow their dealership and bring different strategies and things to the table. But I noticed every time like I would present an offer, an idea, or a strategy, it was like they just wanted to keep me in a box. Like, nah, Timo, that's not your job. Nah, we don't think that's a good idea. No, Timo, you're overstepping your boundaries. On top of the promotion structure, I was noticing, they're good old boys always getting promoted, but they never produced, right? And I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, man, why are these guys always getting the job that I want before me? Like, in a way I was playing victim, but I couldn't figure it out. And I was like, you know what? I want control over my life. I want control over my life. I'm tired of working these 60, 70, 80-hour weeks, okay? I'm tired of doing more for somebody else's corporation. I'm tired of giving a corporation more time than I even spend with my family. And I actually co-parent with my daughter. She lives in the Bay Area, and I would get her for the summers, for the spring breaks, for the holidays. And I was already at the end tail of my job, like not feeling it. The pay was good. Don't get me wrong. It was never the money, guys. When you're making $150,000, $180,000 a year in corporate America, like that's comfortable money. You get what I'm saying? But my daughter came out that summer, and at the time, my ex would have to watch her all day, and I might see her for an hour when I got home. And I I remember just looking at my baby. And at the time I had started my credit repair business about 8 months ago. It was doing about $3,000 to $4,000 a month. And I remember just looking at my baby and I said, you know what? I can't do this to my daughter. You know, I can't do this to her. I can't, you know, not give her that fatherly love. I can't not give her the time she deserves. She's already with me part-time. I know corporate doesn't care about me, my life, my relationship with my daughter. I have to make a decision. So at the time, once again, my part-time credit repair business that I was helping people for free with, and then started taking paying clients, was grossing enough to at least take care of my expenses. And I took the risk. I just took the risk. They tried me one time. They tried doing something sneaky that I don't want to publicly talk about. I caught them and I gave them an ultimatum. Pay me what you owe me or I'm gone. Now, with this specific organization, people feel privileged to work for this corporation for some reason. They think that this corporation is doing them a favor by allowing them to work for them. I never felt that way because I knew I had the power. You get what I'm saying? Well, needless to say, you know, I gave them an ultimatum. They gave me an ultimatum. I went the opposite direction. Cool, I'll take your ultimatum. I packed all my stuff. I professionally left. I was at home with my baby, and I'm not gonna lie, I was scared. I was scared. You're talking about going from $180,000 annually to maybe $44,000 a year independently with your own business. That's $100,000 a year pay cut, guys. I was scared, but through the grace of my creator, I didn't have a plan B, and I knew I had to make it work. So that was the start of everything.
Wow. Yeah. And that's, you know, it's as wild as it sounds, you know, that's really the best way to do it when you have no other option. And then, of course, if you're making six figures, your bills are going to be a little higher. You have to make it happen. So, yeah, but respect to you for that and gratitude for sharing. So, getting back into this, like, did you learn like credit and financing through the job that you had? Was that like how you trained, or how did you get into that area?
Oh yeah, so believe it or not, when I started in the automotive industry back in 2013, I had no clue what credit was. And I had a friend, his name's Roger. We were the same age. Roger had like a BMW 740, a brand new, he had 3 cars. And I started asking questions. I'm like, bro, like, how do you do this? He was like, oh, Timo, let's take a look at your credit. I was a 480 score. I couldn't finance steam off a hot dog. I had bad credit. So what happened was, I'm in a way, I'm an information junkie. I'll say this. Once I'm curious about something, I go deep into that rabbit hole. So just like a lot of you guys, I get on YouTube, I find a credit guy, I buy his little templates for about $50. I write in my negative accounts into the template, and then I just mail it off. Well, needless to say, within 35 days, I had child support deleted off my credit. And that's all I needed to see. One account disappeared. Now, once that account disappeared, I knew I was going to go all the way with credit, but I knew I couldn't build a business around somebody else's template. So what I did from 2013, guys, all the way up until 2019, I really studied that Fair Credit Reporting Act, Fair Debt Collection Practice Act, Truth in Lending Act. I took on free clients and I tested my strategies, because in order to really create a business, a brand that's going to go far and sustain, you know, all the economic cycles, you have to be a true master at your craft. Okay. You have to be in a place where nobody can tell you about your craft because you know it that well. So once I felt like, and I'm talking about, I was starting to delete bankruptcies. I was turning 450 scores into 750s within 90 days. Then I started learning how to rebuild credit files. Then I started learning how to get people $50,000 to $100,000 in personal credit cards. And then I said, hold on, this can't be it, which led me to business credit, business funding. I'm a guy that I don't stop with my studies, you know. Noble Drew Ali said, study, study, study. And if you don't know what to study after that, go study some more, right? But you got to be disciplined. It all ties back to discipline. So I studied the Fair Credit Reporting Act, Fair Debt Collection Practice Act, Truth in Lending Act. I got really consumed in that stuff. And what started to happen is I started finding loopholes in the law. That's all I did. I started finding loopholes in the law, and I learned, okay, credit repair isn't about if the account is yours or not. Credit repair is really about holding corporations accountable to the reporting of the accounts. If they're not reporting accurately, now we can challenge them and we have a chance at getting that account repaired or removed. So then as I started my business, I started hiring a lot of people from the Philippines. And what people don't realize is that there's an internal branch for Equifax in the Philippines. Well, let me tell you guys something about a smart CEO or owner of a company. Smart owners and smart CEOs hire people that are smarter than them. That's how you scale a company. If you're the smartest one in the room, you got to do all the work and you have to make all the decisions. But if you hire people smarter than you, a lot of times they will give you the information you need to grow your business. So in business, you have to be able to put your ego to the side and learn from others at lower quote unquote titles and positions than you. So I started hiring Filipinos from the Philippines because I started growing my business. Well, some of them used to work at the Equifax internal branch over there in the Philippines. And that's when I started learning a lot about like their security systems, this e-Oscar machine that a lot of disputes get eaten up by, especially if you haven't got results for a while, you're battling with a machine. I learned about the different tiers in the bureau, literally just about everything. I learned that your disputes don't even make it into a human's hands. And if it does, they have 30 seconds to make a decision and they're only reading the front page of your disputes. So I got really consumed with my craft because I was loving what I was doing. I found it real interesting.
Wow, that's amazing. So you actually went through and learned things, physically before you got out there and created your own business. Pardon the dog in the background. So, and that's important today because, with the internet era, a lot of people are able to create these virtual businesses or storefronts, and not knocking that because I'm online as well, but where there's no actual expertise or experience behind it. Right. So just going back to your business. So now you have an actual office with real employees, a physical business. For a lot of people out there, maybe we don't realize that when you create a successful business, now there's a new level of pressure because it's no longer just you. It's not even just you and your family. Now you have employees with families. You have an entirely new set of or level of bills and responsibilities. So going back to that, what would you say motivated you to push forward to that next level where you're creating jobs for other people? And now, all of these people even potentially depending on you or depending on this entity that you created.
Oh, 100%. For me, it was, I have a limitless way of thinking. I don't feel like I told myself one thing: if I'm going to get out of corporate America, I have to start operating like there's no ceiling over my head. And I want to take this all the way. And I don't start businesses and get into industries to compete with people. I enter industries to dominate and to be number one. Right. So I knew in order to be number one, well, I got to do my market research to see who the corporate giants are. Then I got to figure out where the corporate giants are going wrong. And the number one corporate giant in the credit repair space, everyone knows of them, is Lexington Law. I got to study Lexington Law for some time. We actually 50% of our client base is from who? Lexington Law. Why did they seek out my company? It's simple. Our customer support department is elite and our results is one of the best, right? So I got to a point where I said, how far can I really take this thing? But then I started taking pride in, I'm really impacting people. I'm really helping people feed their family. I'm really helping people save money. Now I'm helping people purchase homes, low interest cars. And I'm talking about the guys and girls that work for me, like my direct employees. I got guys that made money in six figures that would have never made that type of capital if they would have stayed at their last job. So through hiring, it also created a very magical culture, right? It was like a brotherhood and a sisterhood for some time. And then I said, okay, I got 2 employees. Okay, now I have 4. Oh man, now I got 10. Okay, now I have 20. Now the real trick was, how do I build departments within my company? Because if your billing lady is your customer support lady, you don't have a company. If your sales rep has to repair the credit, you don't have a real company. So now I had to automate and systemize my company and start building out departments. And the only way you can grow once you reach your pinnacle of being a one-person operation is by hiring. That's the only way growth happens. Because the way I looked at it is this: I am the business. Timo Wilson is ASAP Credit Solutions, ASAP Funder. I am the business. I am the face of the business. I am responsible for this business, right? But we all have 24 hours in a day. If I have to do all of these jobs, I will not have time to grow the company. Well, how do you properly grow a company? Strategic partnerships, number 1, branding, number 2, and having all the important meetings with directors, with marketing teams, with SEO teams, through this, through that. I couldn't do all that if I was stuck doing the busy work. So I learned a system, and some of you guys should write this down. It's called BODD, B-O-D-D, okay? And this is how you properly build, grow a company. As the owner, first you have to build it. And a lot of times you are the one building it, you or a partner. From there, you have to organize the business. What do I mean by organizing? Well, you got to organize your departments. You got to organize your processes. You have to organize your key performance indicators. There's a lot of organization skills that are needed in business. After you organize it, then you document it. Well, what do you mean by documenting it? You got to create workflows. You have to create standard operating procedures. You have to have an employee handbook. You have to, I live by this motto, a lot of times you hire people not to think. That's a trick. And it might sound effed up, but I don't hire people to think. I hire people to follow my processes, because I built the process, and the process has been sustained and tested over a long period of time, where if you just have a good attitude and follow the process, you're going to win. So document the processes. Then you delegate all of that to somebody. And that's your hiring: customer support, billing, sales, marketing. Guess what? You need to hire a CPA once you start hitting certain revenues. Once you start hitting a certain level, you got to hire a marketing team, right? So that was the passion behind hiring, really putting, a lot of my employees were my old friends as well. So this was like a team thing, a collaboration thing. It's like, hey man, I got this amazing idea. Things are taking off. I would love to give you an opportunity of a lifetime. You could work with me, because I don't consider people working for me. Like, we're all partners in this in a way, even though you don't have ownership over the company. But you could come work with your boy. You could get free credit repair. We take dope vacations like Miami and Puerto Rico, right? You could make more money than you've ever made. I could show you how to create an LLC, write a lot of your income off, and avoid a lot of taxes. And you learn a certain trade like credit, something that you didn't learn in school. So a lot of my old friends came on, and those friends brought friends. But then I also did the corporate style hiring through Indeed, interviews, et cetera, et cetera. But it was really to become the #1 credit firm in Arizona. It wasn't to make millions of dollars. Like, I never once started this to make millions of dollars. I knew I was always going to be successful. I just didn't know the vehicle that was going to take me to success, because I tried a lot of things in my life. But really, it was to make people happy, to make sure my boys made good money, learned about business, as well as serving clients, and to just be number one in the state of Arizona and eventually take over the entire country when it comes to the credit space.
All right, thanks for sharing that. So, the next question, and you may have already answered this in saying being number one in Arizona, but why would you say, or what would you say you really do this for? Like this lane, why are you really pushing to be successful? Would you say it's to make your family comfortable, cars, houses, financial freedom, or is there something else?
I'll try to keep this the two main topics because there are a lot of reasons, but I'll focus on probably the most important reasons. Number one, guys, it's to be honest with you guys, it's to break a generational curse that I feel like has been put on my family for a long time. Like I said, I come from a lower middle class family. My whole life, I heard I'm never going to be anything, I come from a very toxic background. So I didn't grow up with like all the confidence and, all the security, right? And I just wanted to break a generational curse. And in my heart, like I don't ever want my kids to go through what I had to go through in life. I don't ever want my kids to have to scrape up $1.07 out of a jar just to buy a McDouble to eat for the day. I don't ever want my kids to catch a federal case like I did, because I caught a federal case when I was 20 years old. That's why I got kicked out of college. And I was looking at a 15-year sentence. I don't ever want my kids to have to risk their freedom just to pay rent on their apartment while they're in college so they don't get kicked out and embarrassed, right? I don't ever want my kids to have to wonder, well, why are the lights not on? Why don't the car have gas? Why do I have to walk 10 miles to and from school every single day? I don't want my kids to have to go through that. On top of that, I want to be the person in my family that shows my family a different way. You know what, Grandma? You know what, Dad? You know what, aunties and uncles? I'm here to tell you, you guys were oh so wrong with how you taught us. Okay? Because that going to school, getting good grades, saving a 401k, that's for the birds. That's not our system. That system was not built for us to win. It was built for us to survive. And as humans, if we're always in survival mode, we can never operate out of abundance, ever. So I'm here to make a difference. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because let me share with you guys something. I've seen a lot of money these last 4 or 5 years, a lot of money. Eventually you get numb to money. The material, I have the cars, I have the houses, I have the money. That stuff don't matter to me anymore. If all you're driven by is money, once again, you're going to wake up addicted to alcohol, on drugs, and you have no purpose to why you do what you do any longer. It has to be bigger than the money, because success is tied to your heart. Okay. Your heart has some of the highest frequency ever. If you love what you do and you're making an impact on society, you know how good it feels. I just got off the phone with one of my clients that I've known for 7 years. And he's like, Timo, man, I'm so proud of you. You've come a long way from the car business. We're all on the sidelines clapping for you, man. Like, good job. Like, even the difference in maturity, like, I'm proud of you. And you know what? When I die, I want my kids to come in my home office, type in Timo Wilson and see me in Yahoo Finance, Time Magazine, ABC, NBC, Fox News, and say, wow, my dad really made an impact on society. And I want to walk in his footsteps, right? That's why I do what I do.
Amen. That's a great reason, and to push you forward. I definitely agree with you on that. I just have a quote from the Prophet Noble Drew Ali: "A beggar people can not develop the highest in them, nor can they attain to a genuine enjoyment of the spiritualities in life." And that's one thing that we really don't want to romanticize with the struggle, right? There, poor righteous teachers. There's no there's no shine in that. There's no glory in that, right? We can't, like you said, if we're in survival mode, we can't even realize our true potential. We're limited, and then we're passing that down to our children. So I'm definitely glad that you shared that. I want to ask you one question though. I've heard you speaking about credit before, and you said some things that I've never heard people who are in the credit repair industry say just about credit in general. Speaking about how the whole system is fraudulent, how the whole system is bogus. I've never heard anyone say that before in your area, your field. So just one question for you. How do you like personally, how do you reconcile or like cope or harmonize like with having that understanding? Because that's very uncommon knowledge about the system.
It's difficult. It's very, I would say, spiritually draining. It really is, because I know what's going on. I know the fraud. I am well educated when it comes to this system and the US codes and how things are supposed to be. But my clients, because this isn't their forte and this isn't their thing, they're scared by these big corporate bullies. So with me, like I said, it's very spiritually draining knowing 98% of the time what's happening is an illusion. Like, I'll just give you guys an example. When you get a letter from a third-party creditor, especially when it has a professional law firm at the top, this is MC Jones Law Firm writing you on behalf of Capital One, you owe a debt in the amount of boom, boom, boom. You better pay or respond within 15 days or we're going to slap a judgment on you or we're going to sue you. Well, little that people realize, you didn't even pull out a debt with a third-party collector. Okay? What really validates a contract? Isn't it meeting of the minds, 2 wet signatures, right? Et cetera, et cetera. So if I owe you a debt and your friend Joe comes out of nowhere and says, hey, Timo, pay me 3 times more because you owe my boy John over here, am I just going to pay him because he told me I need to pay him? Right? Also, like auditing as many credit reports as I have, I've probably seen over 10 to 15,000 credit files at this point. And it's funny how if you really put all 3 bureaus side by side by side, take 2-3 hours of your day one of these days and just audit your credit report. Why is your name spelled wrong? Why do they have different variations of your name reporting on the personal information? Why when they report a bankruptcy, do they say the courthouse is reporting the bankruptcy, when if you look into US Code 1666B, permissible purpose, in order for an account to be validated or verified, the agency who is reporting the debt must acknowledge who they are. And when we write the courthouse to ask, do you report my personal information to any outside agency like this bankruptcy, they always say no. I had to learn that a lot of this, guys, is human error. You are suffering because of human error. You are suffering because nobody wants to take the time to just read even basic law like the Fair Debt Collection Practice Act, right? What I found out by investigating a lot of these collection agencies, a lot of collection agencies don't even have a license to collect a debt in the state they're trying to collect in. A lot of these collection agencies are fraudulent, but the minute they call you, you're ready to tell them, hey, yeah, I'm Timo Wilson. Yeah, you're right. I owe this debt. How can I pay you half though? No, it doesn't work like that, right? So the fraud is definitely on a high level because obviously, we are the source, guys. What these corporations are really trying to do is leech off our credit, right? This entire system has been manipulated, okay? I can take it down another rabbit hole, but I don't think this is the time to. But as far as just credit, look at your credit report. Why is it that on your auto loan, TransUnion might report you were 30 days late in November, but then Equifax report you were 30 days late in September, and then Experian reports you were 30 days late in January. There's all types of inaccuracies on the reporting. And whenever I see all three bureaus reporting not lining up, okay, that shows me they have no original instrument of indebtedness. They have no factual or valid evidence to tie my client to the debt. And this is a reporting issue. Now, with that being said, we have to go into the history before the Fair Credit Reporting Act was even created. Why did they come up with the Fair Credit Reporting Act? You guys have to read about this. They came up with the Fair Credit Reporting Act because the fraud was on a much higher level. So they had to create a system to regulate and protect consumers over all the fraud these corporations were doing. So if we know the history and the origination of how the Fair Credit Reporting Act came about, the Fair Debt Collection Practice Act, how it came about and why it came about, we have much of an understanding over what's happening now. But now we are in control because the information is out there. We just got to take some time to read.
Yeah, that's amazing. So things are changing. You mentioned something earlier, the e-Oscar machine. When
Yes.
Is that having to do with disputes, like submitting disputes?
Yes. Yes. So
a little bit about that.
Yeah, guys. So you have this machine, because think about it, right? The bureaus receive 30 million plus disputes a year. And a lot of people think that there's really an investigation going on, right? Like, for instance, I'll give you guys an example. Let's say I'm working on your credit. The first thing I want to do, well, not the first thing, but one of the things I want to do is I want to put the creditor, original creditor or collection agency in a position where they have to validate the debt, okay? The way they are supposed to validate the debt is by the original instrument of indebtedness, meaning the original contract, which must have 2 wet signatures on it, by a voice recording of you admitting to the debt, or by a video of you signing for the debt. And the key word was original instrument of indebtedness, which is typically on carbon paper, okay? So what happens is you send out that section 609 and it's always the same response. You can tell it's a generic response. Oh, after our investigation, we found out that these accounts have been verified as accurate. Okay. Most people don't know what to do there. Okay. They validated as accurate, but they did not send supporting evidence. In a democracy, are you not innocent until proven guilty? We are all innocent until we are proven guilty. What factual evidence did they send to show the accounts are reporting accurate without providing everything I requested? Normally, they send you an itemized statement. They show you like the dates you paid, et cetera, because that's them trying to trick you. Okay. You guys have to understand something with this e-Oscar machine. It puts your disputes into 32 different codes. And this is the problem with people that try to start credit repair businesses without the proper education in law, in the Fair Credit Reporting Act, because what you're doing is you're relying on templatized disputes. This machine has seen all those disputes. Every credit repair company uses them. When you hear clients say, oh yeah, I worked with so-and-so, I never got anything deleted, I didn't hear anything back, I didn't get any results, is because they're using templatized disputes. The e-Oscar machine codes it into 32 different codes. It scans your letters and looks for certain words. It places it into a bucket and it kicks back a generic response. Okay. Now there are ways, and they do this specifically for credit repair companies because the banks don't like credit repair companies. Let's be honest. We're saving people on interest. We're freeing people from their system, right? Now, there is ways to beat the Oscar system, but I can't give away my sauce, baby. I figured that out. There's a way to beat it, and there's a way to get your disputes into a real human's hand. The response that you get once your disputes make it into a real human's hand, now these are the rules. That human has 30 to 45 seconds to read the first page of the dispute and make a decision what stays on there and what doesn't. Here's the deal, guys. These corporations are not doing a real 30-day investigation. It's almost impossible to, because I operate on a three-pronged attack. Well, if I attack the bureau, they have to validate and verify with me within 30 days. But if I also attack the creditor at the same time, now the creditor must validate and verify with the bureau and myself within 30 days, and it's almost impossible too. If you're getting a generic response back from a templatized credit bureau, quote unquote, verification method, it's always a machine. I've seen the worst, right? Like recently, I don't know if you guys know, but TransUnion is under a big lawsuit because they found out that if you're using a certain mail carrier, which most credit repair companies do, to send out our disputes via volume, okay, TransUnion isn't even opening the disputes. A lot of credit repair companies have been having problems disputing TransUnion. So with that being said, I've seen responses like, hey, Mr. Client, we suspect you're working with a credit repair company. If these disputes are really from you, please send in a copy of your ID, social, proof of address, which we always do with our disputes. Well, why do they do that? Well, A, it's not a human writing that. It's a systemized machine spitting those stall letters out. They're buying times to stay within federal guidelines of responding within 30 days. Why do you think they would have that system? Now, let's look at it like a business, Lloyd. Why do you think they would have this system on the front end of their corporation? Well, it's a volume game. They know they're getting ready to get hit with 30 million disputes a year. We need a system in place that talks like a human, because we know 98% of consumers do not read. And after we send one response back, now we wash out the 98% of consumers that don't know how to come back with a round two and really challenge us. And we'll deal with the 2% with the people we have on payroll.
Yeah, that's amazing. Just going back to credit and disputing credit reports and things of that nature, can you just explain, like, basically what is credit and why should we use it? Because most people just use credit, to buy stuff like cars.
Yes. So guys, credit, I've learned now this is how I truly look at this. Okay. You have to really be in tune with your personality before trying to get a good credit score and pulling out all this debt, because, you have to be someone that's very conscious and very aware, because, once you have buying power, especially, if you come from environments like myself where nobody around me really had any kind of money, it's easy to use your credit for, once again, the lower self's desires, like materialistic items you really can't afford, right? Now, the way I look at credit is a tool to grow, okay? Because let's just say, and I'll give you guys an example. So when I first started building ASAP Credit Solutions, after the foundation was built, what I personally did is I pulled out $80,000 in personal credit cards, okay? That $80,000 in personal credit cards went towards my first 6 months of my office lease, my first 2 employees' payroll, a little bit of marketing, a little bit of leads, a little bit of systems. Credit is designed, credit, the proper way to use it is to invest it into your business, but you have to be certain that this money is going to turn a profit, because you have to hedge against interest rates. So let's say you invest $10,000 on a credit card into your business. But let's say that credit card is 0% interest for 9 to 24 months. I want to make sure this $10,000 can at least start cash flowing the business $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 a month, which at the end of the year is double than what I invested. But the trick is to pay off the credit card while it's still on 0% terms, because you had no cost of that capital. Credit, guys, is used to grow businesses. I promise you. If you think Walmart buys hundreds of millions of dollars of products and put it on their shelves, you're wrong. Walmart works off net 30, net 55, net 90 terms. In business, everything is consignment. Here, I'm going to give you this, but pay me back in this much time. Well, that's the same thing with credit, guys. Okay? People with good credit scores, honestly, we're just professional on-time bill payers. There's no trick to it. Pay your bills on time, we'll give you more. Now, credit really boils down to trust in relationships. You guys have to understand something. I have a reel on my Instagram. I talk about, you need the banks on your team, guys. If you're going to choose to live in this matrix and do commerce and live in this system, the public system, you need the banks on your team. Okay? The way you have the banks on your team is you start small. I started with a $200 secured credit card. That led to my first $5,000 unsecured credit card. That led to my first $20,000 unsecured credit card. That led to my first $40,000 auto loan. That led to my $500,000 home. Why? Because when someone gives me something, I'm not going to take it unless I'm certain I can pay on it on time over a long period of time. Okay. So you start by building your personal credit profile with your SSN, your social security number. Okay. The banks are your friends. The banks, all of them are friends. Whatever you do to one bank, the rest of the banks are going to find out. Okay. And what a lot of people don't realize is in the credit industry, guys, there's other smaller data houses furnishing your negative accounts. Okay. Like for public records, this LexisNexis. If you overdraft a bank account, it closes down. It's check systems. So what I'm getting to is all the banks are friends. Okay. They all report data on you. If Billy and John are friends and you burn Billy, John's not going to continue to lend to you. And sometimes you get yourself in a situation, if you don't pay a certain account on time, other accounts start closing on you. But credit is designed to inject into your business and look at it like a tool to grow. Do not be emotionally attached to money, okay? So what I mean by that, we all have a decision. We started talking about decisions earlier on this call. You can use credit as an asset, or you can use credit for a liability, okay? I'll give you an example. The fool goes and buys a $40,000 car to show it off on Instagram to look cool in front of the girl of his dreams, and he has to go to work and work 80 hours a week, 40 hours a week, whatever it is, just to keep up with that liability that he's utilizing to impress people. That's how fools operate. Now, the wise man will pull out that $40,000 auto loan, okay, which is about $750 a month, $1,000 a month with insurance, put it on Turo, and now it's an asset because that $40,000 auto loan that the banks gave you, which you have a truck, car, SUV, whatever, is now making you $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month, and that's what you call passive income. The fool wants to buy a home for his family on his first real estate purchase. Okay, that home ain't making you no money unless you buy somewhat big and it has good equity in it, and you refinance the mortgage to pull the equity out to use it for your business. Now that's smart, but just buying a home because I was sold this dream of ownership is the biggest scam in America. The biggest scam in America. Because at the end of the day, and I'm not going to talk about this right now, even when you pay that home off, you don't own that home. You don't. Okay. So first of all, you got to learn money. You got to learn credit, and you have to learn how to use it as a vehicle and a tool to create passive income. Because when you have passive income coming in, you're making money without working. And that's what you call time freedom. So yeah, credit's a tool, guys.
Thank you for sharing that. Definitely. So the best way to use credit would then be for business, like to use it as a tool. Thanks for sharing that. A lot of insight, a lot of gems just dropped with that one. We have a lot of questions in the chat, or
Yeah,
some
let's get to
just jumping out. Yeah. So yeah, there's one that I think like 2 or 3 people asked the same question. So we'll get to that. But first,
let's start with drainer bags. Yeah. How do you feel about the US dollar not being used anymore? You really want to know how I feel? So it doesn't matter because the US dollar is just a Federal Reserve note. It's a promise to pay. It hasn't been backed by gold since 1930 something, 1940 something. All it is paper. Once again, don't be emotionally attached to money, and also never operate out of fear, right? So think about it. If the US dollar, which it is, it's collapsing and it's in talks of a centralized currency, etc., that should motivate us more, should it not, to create our own system, to create our own private banking, right? Because all we're going to do is fall into the next trap, which is going to be more controlled by the IRS and the government. You guys realize they hired 80,000 more IRS agents, but they're armed. They're coming in armed, right? So I'm not in fear of the US dollar collapsing because, you know, I live out of love and abundance. Whatever they roll out with next, I'm gonna systematically dissect it and know how to, and learn how to leverage it in my benefit. And we all can, right? But at the end of the day, the US dollar was just a promise to pay. They're just debt notes. They're nothing more than that. A piece of paper with my signature, a bill. You guys got to read the bill of exchange, right? This is just as good as that US dollar you got in your pocket. I'm not going to show all of it, but that's just as good. Okay? You guys need to read the bill of exchange because these little bills you guys are getting in the mail are just as good as money. You don't need to go to work and pay bills. That's not what the bill of exchange says. They send you your remittance coupons all the time, but the US dollar should not make or break you whatsoever. I feel like it should just motivate us more as a collective to create our own system, our own private banking system, etc., so we can operate in private and be in more control. But regardless, you know, the way I think, which is a limitless belief system, the way I think, like, I don't feel like I have any limitations, and I don't feel like there's nothing I can't figure out. Whatever they think of it like this: you're at the home base, right? And the pitcher keeps throwing straight balls at you, fastballs, okay? And you're missing them. And then at the end, he throws the last one, but the first 2 times, you got to read on his speed. You got to read on his angle. You got to read on his body language, where that 3rd time is a home run. That's how I look at how these agencies, you know, throw out these different ways of doing commerce, etc. There's always going to be a loophole. There's always going to be a hole in the system, but it's our job to be disciplined enough to study them, to read, and to learn how to leverage whatever they come at us with next. You'll always be good with gold and silver, though.
All right, great. Thank you for sharing that. What advice would you have for people, though, who are leveraging like gold and silver, or people who are, you know, purchasing like physical bars?
Keep doing it. I was actually looking at a chart of gold, I want to say 2 weeks ago. Gold should hit, guys, about $4,000 an ounce. Okay. I believe we're trading between the 1,800 to 2,000 levels. I forecast and wholeheartedly believe, and I'm glad you're recording this, that gold is going to break $4,000 or $5,000 an ounce here in the next 12, 24, 36 months. So whenever we're dealing with like uncertain time, guys, the safest thing to do is to stock up on gold, stock up on silver, because, you know, the Constitution does state, you know, all debts are prepaid, and debts can only be paid with what? Gold and silver, right? So precious metals are everything, you know. In uncertain times, stock up on that. I would add it to your portfolio. I just consulted one of my young mentees, right? He said, Timo, you know, I have about 30,000 in stock still. I haven't pulled anything out. Well, I said, brother, what are you waiting on? You know, we're in a bearish market. Like, are you waiting for it to rebound? Like, what I would do is pull all my money out and go buy physical gold bars and put it in my safe, because you have a tangible asset. You have a commodity that we all know is mentioned in the Constitution. That's the only real way to pay debts. And it's in your safe at home. So you're in full control. You can't lose. And they're predicting for it to double, if not triple, the next 12 to 36 months. So that's a good play right there.
You know, just to speak to that briefly, what you just said about your conversation, the person holding on to their stocks. Like, I've noticed, without giving out too much info, just like in the last 2 months, like just stocks and mutual funds and things of that nature just, you know, been going up. Whereas like the last year and a half, everything was just tanking. I don't know if it's an illusion or what, but you know, it's like, yeah, so I understand why somebody would want to hold on to it just to see if it's going to keep going. But yeah, that's it's kind of crazy, especially with all the news going on now. You think everything would be going down, but it's the opposite.
Yeah, you know, if you look at an inversion chart between gold and the US dollar, they run opposite. And that's crazy because, you know, at one time gold, you know, gold backed, you know, Federal Reserve notes. So they actually run opposite. And, you know, I knew about 2 years ago the economy was going to collapse, about 2.5 years ago. And that's just how it works, you know. Some of you guys need to read Ray Dalio's book. It's the like the cycles. I forget the book, but it talks about the cycles of the economy, and he's on point with what's going on right now, guys. Like, you have to understand, everyone got the stimulus checks, right? Everyone got the stimulus checks. Well, what they didn't realize is we were all going to have to pay for all that money that they just printed. They printed 32 trillion something dollars, okay, which caused inflation. Well, what balances out, which led to a recession, right, which we're in right now. Well, what balances out a recession? War. War is the only thing that can balance out a recession and get us back on the uptrend, because at the end of the day, the real consumer is the banks, and we are the original creditor. Well, when you're killing off a lot of the original creditors, what that does is it balances out the books. But that's a conversation for another day, Lloyd.
Definitely, we will have to revisit that. So another question on here. Steph asked, for someone who really wants to learn the credit game like myself, where would you recommend I start?
You know, I would say I'm going to give you guys some gems right now. I would say start with the Fair Credit Reporting Act and learn what governs the credit industry. Before you start a business, you want to know what laws and what federal agencies govern that industry. So start with the Fair Credit Reporting Act #1 and do a little bit of reading on the Fair Debt Collection Practice Act, because once you understand those two components, you will understand what these agencies can and cannot do. I would say that is step 1. Now, step 2, you know, a lot of it you guys can Google. Like, Google, what are the 5 components of a FICO score? You have payment history, utilization, credit mixture, new credit, length and age of credit, right? And then once you really learn the FCRA and FDCPA, pull out your credit report, audit it line by line by line by line, have those resources out, and see if these creditors are breaking any of the federal consumer-based laws designed to protect you, right? That alone, I'll tell you guys, is at least a year or 2 worth of knowledge it's going to take you to really get through and really put together. Now, outside of that, you have to understand or understand that you also need to learn how money works. Okay. And to understand how money works, start reading the Bill of Exchange Act, I want to say of 1865, if I'm correct. The Bill of Exchange Act of, I'll tell you right now, of 1882. I'm sorry. The Bill of Exchange Act of 1882. Okay. Then what you do is start reading some of the articles of the Constitution. Then start reading some of the Federal Reserve Acts. Then start reading the Truth in Lending Act. I just gave you guys 5 years worth of material it's going to take for you guys to get through. How much is it to be consulted, mentored by you, Timo? You know, the real question is how much is it going to cost? The real question is, how far will my mentorship and consulting take you? But we could have that conversation in private, because I have a lot going on right now, guys. I don't have like one-on-one students and things like that. I have a few operations going on. But if you connect with me on Instagram, we could definitely talk about that in private. What else you got for me, Lloyd? What other questions?
Okay. Yeah, there's one more question. Okay, yeah, concerning the acts you were speaking about earlier, I forget exactly which, which acts, but just basically asking, are there specific websites or books to help us learn the same knowledge? So when you were speaking about like the, the credit report.
The Fair Credit Reporting Act is free, guys. It's free. And I believe every state, man, it's a big purple book. It's the FCRA. Or what you could do is you could go on Cornell Law, Cornell, Cornell Law. And most of the Fair Credit Reporting Act is going to be under Title 15.
All right, thanks. Appreciate that.
So that's free. And one more thing. If you look at my last YouTube video, my channel's Timo Talks Biz, I actually went over a lot of secret and key information about the Fair Debt Collection Practice Act. And if all you do is subscribe, drop a comment, I have a Google Drive holding all that information. I could share the link with you, but you do have to subscribe and comment. And that's going to be Timo Talks Biz on YouTube.
Okay, yeah. Since you did mention that, though, just want to remind everyone to make sure that you go to the description for the video and go to sorry about that. So that you can go to check out the links for this brother. His contact information and websites are in there. Remember to go and subscribe to this brother's YouTube channel and follow him on Instagram. And that information is in the video description.
Man, we gave the people a lot today, Lloyd.
Oh yeah, definitely. I really appreciate you for coming on here, man. It's been amazing. If I could just ask you one more question in closing. What visions or plans do you have that maybe that you're working on that you wouldn't mind sharing with our listeners?
One more time, I'm sorry. I was reading the last comment. We were just DMing from Steph.
Oh yeah,
okay.
Sure. So what visions or plans do you have that you're working on now that you wouldn't mind sharing with our listeners?
Oh yes. Basically vision and what I'm working on to develop here for the future, right?
Yes.
Okay. So recently, guys, for the last, I'd say, year, I've been studying Uniform Commercial Codes, UCC. UCC is very powerful and is tied in with what's called contract law, right? So I've been doing a lot of digging into the Uniform Commercial Codes. I recently rolled out a program back in December as well. It's called FundOps. So FundOps stands for Funding Optimization. What we do is we create your LLC or corporation for you. We repair your credit. We build your business credit. We create your corporate identity. We write your 5 to 8 page bankable business plan. And then we match you with lenders and get that entity we just created and built capital as far as funding. I also, within the last 30 days, created a logistics company to serve a lot of our owner operators in the transportation and trucking industry. So we're managing about 18 trucks right now. So ASAP is the entire organization, right? You have ASAP Capital Investments, which is my holding company. You have ASAP Credit Solutions, which is my credit repair firm. ASAP Funder, that's my funding firm. Now ASAP Logistics, that's my logistics company, right? So I'm just trying to build out layers within the organization in different sectors. But right now it's a lot of the logistics, our fund ops program to really help people optimize throughout the recession to set them up for 0% interest funding. A lot of law, uniform commercial codes, and trust law, because at the level that I'm currently at, you guys have to understand it's all cool. It's cool to grow and scale, but what's more important is mitigating risk through asset protection, right? When you have all this money coming in, okay, what if you drive out right now, hit somebody and kill somebody? Does your all caps name, or do you still own everything on paper? It's cool to own nothing and control everything. So I've been in a process of, putting everything in trust and just really dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's to protect myself, I do want to, I'm in talks of collaborating with different higher profile gentlemen as far as seminars when it comes to a lot of this business credit funding, uniform commercial code stuff, nationality, all that good stuff. So, I'd love to do more public speaking, more podcasts, all that good stuff. But as far as, my vision, guys, I really do have a vision to help and serve 1 million people, regardless if it's credit, regardless if it's just a phone call and advice, regardless if it's mentorship, regardless if it's me getting your company money, or if it's my logistics company helping your semi or your box truck gross good money and stay on the road. I just want to help 1 million people, and I've knocked out the first 10,000, so I have 900,000 more people to go. So who's next?
That's beautiful. And, one of the greatest things about achieving, being a high achiever, the more successful you are, the more people that you can potentially reach, like the more good you could potentially do. And so, I just want to thank you again for coming on here. This has been great. I'd love to revisit that topic of trust that you just mentioned. Maybe we can talk about that sometime. I don't talk about this at all, but personally, that's something we've done on the side for our family to protect our assets. And, there's people out here that are actually teaching or charging people, for that type of information, and they don't even walk the walk, right? So that would be a great topic to discuss maybe in the future if you were open to it. So
yeah, 100%. Whatever we got to do to bring our people to the next step, Lloyd, that's what I'm for. One thing you said at the beginning that I respect and I appreciate you for is this is a man that walks what he talks. Guys, everybody's influencers in this day and age, just be careful is all I could tell you.
Oh, yes, definitely. Yeah. So that's very important for everyone to take from this. And just once again, man, it's been a pleasure having you on here. Is there anything else that you would like to say in closing?
I'll just say this, guys. Everything you need is within you. If I made it to where I'm at today, you can definitely accomplish your goals, your dreams. Okay, it's not failure until you quit. Never give up, never quit. It's okay to pivot. It's okay to try something new. During these times right now, don't go looking to buy a home. Don't go looking to buy a car. The best thing you could do is optimize, which is working on your personal credit profile, your business credit profile, putting the plans and strategies together, executing on some funding, and utilizing that funding for the plan you previously put in place. I hope that didn't go over some of your guys' heads. You guys have my social media channels. If there's any way I could help you, serve you, support you, collaborate with you, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm not too good just because I've had a little bit of success. I never forget where I come from. Lloyd, thank you so much for allowing me to bless your following on today's podcast. I enjoyed it. The energy was right. This platform is amazing. Continue to dig through, Lloyd's platform. I mean, this movement is huge. I've learned a lot from a lot of his videos. So just thank you. I love you all. Let's connect and let's build.
All right. Thank you for taking the time to invest with us. We appreciate you. Just one thing I want to just to let everybody know out there. If you're not going to do all of the things that Timo shared with us earlier regarding repairing your credit, or you want to make sure that you don't make any mistakes, make sure that you reach out to his business to make sure it's done correctly. Forget downloading some outdated template from Google and hoping it's going to work out for you. As he said earlier, it's like basically a battle, so why not put his team to work for you? So definitely take advantage of that opportunity. All the information for him is in the video description. And everyone that's here, please hit the like and share button, help to spread this information out there. Thank you again for your time. And I just want to say peace and love to you and everybody here.
Peace and love, y'all. I'll see you again.
All right, everybody, make sure that you hit the like and the share button. And on that note, we are out of here. Peace and love.
Fez Caps blends Moorish style with modern streetwear hats. The cutting-edge design features Moorish symbols with a silk tassel on the dome of the cap. More than just a fashion statement, Fez Caps represents something powerful and ancient within you. Go to fezcaps.com to order your Fez Cap now. Every day, billions of searches are conducted online, therefore it is critical that your company stands out to the small percentage of clients who are essential to your business. Our team of local digital marketing consultants and SEO experts is eager to help your company achieve its goals through a consultative approach, top Google rankings, and collaboration with industry experts. Here at Adept Marketing Solutions, we stand for integrity, dedication, ingenuity, and results. We know how to navigate the ever-changing digital landscape and what brands must do to succeed. Visit our website to see what we can do to help you reach your goals.
Care More is a non-profit organization focused on providing goods and services to families and individuals in our underfunded communities in Central Ohio. We have created an online presence to reach members of our Central Ohio communities, as well as local events and meetings to give away supplies and donations throughout the city all year long. Visit our website to learn more and to send a donation.
Highest quality handmade fezzes. Crafted fez with the finest wool, complete with tassel and leather sweatband. Wear the national headdress of Moorish Americans with pride and respect. 3XL size fez is a comfortable fit for brothers with dreadlocks. Shipping worldwide. Go to moorishfez.com to order.
Don't let your history start at slavery. Join with Moorish Science Temple, a lawfully chartered Islamic organization, and proclaim your nationality while helping us uplift fallen humanity. Founded by American prophet Noble Drew Ali and consistently promoted plans for the betterment of humankind. We are located in Columbus, Ohio. Visit our website www.moorishamericans.com and follow us on social media. We hold live meetings on Zoom every Friday and Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Give us a call at 614-407-4394 if you would like to join or send donations to help us uplift fallen humanity.